the first phase of Nostr was just very sort of cypherpunk in terms of, you had to do everything yourself by hand. In the legacy centralized platforms is that you're constantly asking for permission. So you ask for permission to exist on their network. You ask for a permission to post something on their network. You ask for permission to, even view the content and so forth. On Nostr, that's different. You claim your identity, and then you use it on your own. This is all kind of part of that cypherpunk tradition going back decades, where the dream was that humanity would eventually stand up a network, a web of trust of cryptographic identities, and this dream has been realized right now.
We're building it as we speak.
Through Nostr.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Your Bitcoin Story with your host Gigi at the BTC Prague and the BTC Prague edition. Today I have the pleasure of having my good friend and freedom fighter Miljan on the show, who is the CEO of Primal. If you guys still don't know about Primal, I don't know what you're doing, because we've been shilling Nostr for probably a year and a half. And as you guys know, Primal is my go-to client. Miljan is the man, and his team, of course, he's not doing everything himself. They are building the forefront in this decentralized data. Last year they had a big announcement. Yesterday they had a huge announcement with Primal Studio, so definitely go check out primal.net. But instead of here just chilling Primal, why Primal is the best, we will focus on why we are here building this new decentralized world, and why do we feel optimistic while the whole world looks at all the chaos, money printing, wars, and we're going into doomsday. Here in Prague, the energy is we are cypherpunks building a new world. So I'll leave it to you, Miljan, to take it from here.
All right, well, thanks very much for having me on the show. Yeah, I agree. That's the feeling that we all have here. You can kind of be in despair or complain about the world, or you can try and do something about it. And we Bitcoiners are building the alternative world. It's something that, like an alternative monetary system, which we think will produce a much better world. And it seems to me that we're on the right track there. Things are going well. Bitcoin is taking off as the new hard money. I like our chances of actually accomplishing that in the coming years. And then the next battle is speech and sort of publishing and our own existence online. And this is where Nostr comes in. This is a much tougher battle at this point because we only started it relatively recently, 2-3 years ago. But I'm very optimistic. I think Nostr is the right protocol to build this new future on. So this is what I spend most of my time on, building Primal and trying to advance the Nostr protocol itself.
I love it. And, as you said, we took back the power of holding our own money, but data was the next key, and data is such a big, there's many different formats of written data, audio files, videos like you're watching us on now. All of this we're just giving away to these like hugely high walled gardens, may that be Google, Meta, and now we finally have this ability to claim our own digital footprint that we leave on the web out there. And as Miljan said, not just Primal that has been 2-3 years. The whole protocol's been around for, I think, no more than 4 years now, 4.5.
Maybe a little bit longer, but the first year or two has been very experimental. Just a handful of developers. Honestly, first time I heard about it, I think it was in mid-2022.
Yeah.
And I dismissed it out of hand, even though I was very interested in the space.
Like Adam Back dismissed the Bitcoin when Satoshi sent him with a white paper.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean,
we learn.
The best of us, yeah. And then it was maybe 6 months later when Dorsey tweeted about it that I kind of took another closer look at the network, started actually reading the protocol spec, and then it just hit me like a ton of bricks at one point. I was reading through NIP1, Nostr Improvement Proposal kind of document. So very first one that kind of defines the protocol. I was maybe halfway through that document that it just hit me. It's like, okay, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And the second thought was, we have a shit ton of work to do.
We do.
And I decided to start a project. I immediately came up with some ideas for an indexer and a caching service. And my kind of, what I like, the thought that I had in my head was like, okay, this is going to work, but I wonder how good it can get. I wonder if we can produce the user experience that matches or maybe even exceeds that of the legacy centralized networks, because of course there are many challenges in kind of bringing that forward with based on a decentralized protocol. So it was kind of a niche I needed to scratch. So I put a little team together, and I thought
I'm glad you scratched that itch, by the way, Miljan.
Still scratching it, but yeah, it's starting to really take shape, and I think now we can say that there are a number of different approaches to building Nostr apps. Every app developer can choose how to use the protocol in the way that suits their users'
preference
best.
or needs.
Exactly. Like Gigi and Pablo say, there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. So the biggest wisdom here is finding the right set of trade-offs between sovereignty and ease of use so that you create the best possible product for your target users. And for us, the first phase of Nostr was just very sort of cypherpunk in terms of
full sandbox.
Yeah, it was more like, you had to do everything yourself by hand.
Yeah.
Create a key pair, find a file hosting service to upload your avatar image, etc., etc. So now we've advanced quite a bit from there. On a client like Primal, you can, relatively easily get onboarded onto the network. And we also offer a built-in custodial Bitcoin wallet. So this is, by the way, one of those trade-offs that we had to carefully consider, where we as Bitcoiners really don't like custodial solutions. So of course, we all prefer self-custody for a number of different reasons, for sovereignty, but also that usually means you can avoid KYC and things like that. However, there's like this issue with Lightning, where to use it in a self-custodial manner, you kind of need to jump through a few hoops. You need to open channels, manage liquidity.
And you can have bad experiences. I had my channels first closed, and you don't know what's happening.
You need to be prepared to deal with all of that stuff, and many people are prepared. And the early cohort of Nostr users were those types of people. But I was wondering what the next cohort of users would look like, and it was clear that they would not have the patience to do those types of things, while they would still be interested in being sovereign online.
Yeah.
So in Primal, you hold your own Nostr key, so you basically claim your existence
in the digital realm.
In the digital realm, and this is a massive point. Because the alternative in the legacy centralized platforms is that you're constantly asking for permission.
And constantly monitored anything you do.
And that's a part of it. So you ask for permission to exist on their network. You ask for a permission to post something on their network. You ask for permission to, even view the content and so forth. On Nostr, that's different. You claim your identity, and then you use it on your own terms because you control the private key for your account, and you can use any number of different apps and in a sovereign manner and kind of jump around between apps and so forth. So that's kind of the high level of
and just to add to it, you can also make unlimited amount of digital identities on Nostr. So it's not like in the old days you had this one email matches this recovery number and mobile. You can have a new NIM for every single day of the...
You can, and you can have different identities for different purposes, and this is all kind of part of that cypherpunk tradition going back decades, where the dream was that humanity would eventually stand up a network, a web of trust of cryptographic identities, and this dream has been realized right now.
We're building it as we speak.
Through Nostr, which is really incredible to see. Where you have tens of thousands, maybe up to 100,000 users on Nostr who are holding their keys, and they kind of there's this network that's being created where there's a social graph, there are follow connections and different connections of different kinds as well, where we in fact have bootstrapped this global web of trust of cryptographic identities, each of which is individually controlled by the user and gets to kind of selectively reveal themselves to the world. So this is in the grand scheme of things, it's very early days. It's still small scale, but it exists. This is what...
And new things are being built every week.
Exactly. This is what the early Cypherpunks wanted to do, and if you know about the PGP signing parties and all of that, they were trying to bootstrap this as hard as they could, and they made it all so far. And of course, we are standing on the shoulders of those giants.
100%.
We wouldn't be here without them. But now this is the next iteration of it, and
this is the implementation phase.
Yes, and this network is, it turns out, being bootstrapped by Bitcoiners. Of course, everyone is welcome to join, and there are some users who are joining Nostr and then discovering Bitcoin through Nostr. There's that too. But the culture within the Bitcoin community is perfect. It's ideal for bootstrapping a network like this because our culture is one of holding our own keys, of running nodes, and the kind of rough equivalent to that on Nostr is running relays. So there are 2,000 relays on Nostr that you can use to post your content. And the network is being bootstrapped and it's growing organically without any central planning or control. And I'll make a point that Nostr is the only network where you have the user base who holds their own keys, as well as stands up various parts of the infrastructure. That's the only network like that.
You're right, I never thought about it.
You have some alternative networks. There's Farcaster and Shitcoin Land, and there's Mastodon and these other networks.
And Blue Sky.
There's Blue Sky, but there's no evidence at all that important pieces of the infrastructure are being stood up by individual entities or are being stood up organically. There's always a central entity that essentially controls them. In some of those networks, users control their keys, but that's not enough. Because if there's a central entity that controls the infrastructure, you can hold a key all you want.
That's true.
Nostr is unique in this sense. Nostr is the only network that actually has been stood up in this organic manner. And this is why I'm so bullish on it. It's early days, we still have a lot of work to do, but we do have a foundation that's extremely strong.
Well, guys, if you're not bullish from what Miljan just said, rewind that back a few minutes. I couldn't agree more to chip in on it. I find what the conclusion is, a lot of people want to fight the system and break the system and protest against the system, but the takeaway from this year's event is forget the system altogether. We are building this new parallel system, and you can help build it today. And to everyone listening, getting involved in Bitcoin or building, your own app idea on Nostr, it's the absolute best time because now there's so much. There's no will Bitcoin survive. Now it's how to implement the next stages of offering products and services to people that actually need them. And I see this space really picking up. Forgetting the whole boom and dump cycle and it, forget that. Just focus on building, and there's so much stuff to get built in this new world. You have this blank canvas, and there's already some painters and creators building, but we are building a whole new world. So I'm really optimistic on that side that with this decentralized money and data, it allows people to work on absolutely anything. Where in the old legacy world and the whole fiat mining, it's oh my God, there's no jobs, and if I lose this, I go on unemployment, and it's a spiral to darkness.
I agree. And since I started actively kind of building in this space, I must say that I personally feel a lot better.
Yeah.
I no longer despair, even though there's a lot to be fixed out there.
Correct.
I feel great because we are doing something about it, and I like our chances. I like our chances of succeeding here.
Yeah. Well, my dad always said that no empires last forever, and this current empire of not globalization, but maybe controversial, Americanization is coming to an end. So this 100-year empire is crumbling hard. And thanks to all the Cypherpunks developers, advocates, content creators, artists, we are bringing in this new movement and we are going to win it sooner or later. But it's just a matter of time. And putting things into perspective on low time preference, which we Bitcoiners love, is, guys, just be patient. As we are with Bitcoin, a protocol that's been only for 16 years and now it's the 5th largest asset class in the world, speaks volumes. Nostr now, 4 or 5 years, wait where Nostr and what we will achieve in 5, 10 years, I don't even want to think about it. And what we achieve then is what we do today. So if anything, if I want to share some kind of values from this episode, is focus on the now, don't delay things for next year, New Year's resolution. You're just cheating yourself. Focus on the now, start building, join the community. You have your idea, bring it in. You don't know how to contribute, reach out to Primal, there's so many amazing projects in the space that all need manpower, help, and together is how we succeed, not solo. And yeah, I mean, anything else, Miljan, you want to add on this positive note to send the listeners away with?
Sure, I completely agree. And when we say building, it doesn't necessarily need to mean building, apps or infrastructure, stuff like that. It means contributing content, for example, contributing your life energy. Like instead of logging into X or Instagram or these centralized platforms that essentially are used to
sell you stuff.
Exactly.
And spend your time. Terrible.
They're parasitic
Yes.
on humanity. At the end of the day. It's your choice where you can spend your time and energy and where you can contribute, add more gravity to these types of networks like Nostr, like Bitcoin. So just like you would remove some of your wealth from the fiat system and put it into Bitcoin and make the Bitcoin ecosystem stronger just by mere fact of moving some of your life energy in that direction. Same applies to Nostr. And
Primal's the best.
All right.
There, you heard it.
And just contributing your content there, spending more time there, helping friends and family get onboarded is the way to build this network. So that's what I'll leave people with.
Miljan, thank you so much for taking the time to come on, guys. I hope you got inspired from this conversation. Miljan, where can we send our listeners who want to follow you, get in touch, or what's the best place to send them? I guess primal.net.
Okay, primal.net/Miljan is where you can find me. Just yesterday we launched Primal Studio for content creators, so you can check that out at studio.primal.net.
Amazing. Guys, stay sovereign, become unruggable, love each other, and let's build the brave new world. See you on the next one.
Let's do it.